There is nothing worse than running out of paracord in the middle of your project, or getting to the end of your project and realizing that your bracelet doesn't fit at all. So we want to address both of those problems in today's video. We want to show you how to size your bracelets perfectly and estimate how much cord you'll need for any project. Let's dive in. So before I begin, I should note that this is not a paracord bracelet tutorial. We've got a separate video on that will link in the description, and you'll also see a link pop up here. But anyway, before we dive into making our bracelet, we need to measure our wrist and find out how long our bracelet needs to be. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. One is if you have a sewing ruler, you can just wrap that around your wrist and get your measurement. But most of us don't have that. So it's easier to just grab some paracord, because you of course have some paracord if you're making a paracord bracelet, and wrap that around your wrist. So we just want to wrap it around where our bracelet is going to be worn. And so if you like to wear it up here, measure there. If you like to wear it back here on the skinniest part of your wrist, measure there. I like to go about in the middle. And we just want to note where the cord meets the end. So right there. So that's the measurement of my wrist. So we can lay that out on a ruler now. And mine is just over 7 inches, about 7 1/4 to 7 1/2. So is that how long we need to make a bracelet? Let's make one and find out. Alright, so our usual viewers or experienced paracord crafters are probably rolling their eyes by now or have checked out entirely because they know that this doesn't work. Let's try it on. And that is a very tight fit, especially if I want to wear it up where I measured my wrist. If I slide it way back here, it's still pretty tight, and I don't like to wear a bracelet back there. But there's a reason that didn't work, and that is because of the thickness of the bracelet. When we measured our wrist with paracord, one strand of paracord is a lot thinner than the bracelet itself. And so if we measure the length like this, we'll lay it alongside a ruler here. So that is exactly 7 1/2 inches, but that's the center measurement down the middle of the bracelet. When we fold that into a circle, that's taking this, if you were to follow like where the white meets the blue around the edge, that would be your 7 1/2 inches. Our interior diameter is going to be a lot less. So if we were to measure that with some paracord, if we fit a circle of paracord inside the bracelet and measure that, we have 6 1/2 inches, which isn't our wrist size at all. And so to account for that, we want to make a bracelet that is a full inch longer than our wrist measurement. So now I'm going to make a bracelet that's the right size for my wrist. So my wrist is 7 1/2 inches. I want to make a bracelet that is 8 1/2 inches long. So let's set up my jig again. So as with our first version of this bracelet, we're going to be including this side of the buckle in our measurement, but not these teeth on the other side, because they go inside of the other end, so they aren't part of our total measurement. So now let's try this one on for size. And that 8 1/2 inches is perfect. It's just enough room to slip a finger under there, but it is not loose on my wrist. That's just how I want it to fit. Let's bring in our other one to compare. And you'll see that that 1 inch makes a pretty big difference in the overall size of the bracelet. So now onto the real question of how much paracord you need for any given project. This is by far the most common question that we get asked, hands down. And we've tried explaining it before, and we inevitably get comments down below on blog posts and videos. Well, how much paracord do you need for this project? Or how much paracord do I need for this project? And we're happy to answer those questions for you, but I also want to show you how to calculate it for yourselves, so that if you do a project that we haven't done before in a video, or we don't know how to do, that you can do it for yourself. So I've got a 8.5-inch bracelet in a cobra weave, and I could tell you how much cord is in this, or we could find out the actual number together by deconstructing it. So let's start by doing that. So in an 8.5-inch bracelet, there is exactly 7 feet 7 inches of paracord. Now that's less than the estimate that I usually give people of 1 foot of cord per inch of weave. If that were absolutely true, then we would have had 8.5 feet of paracord here, but we don't. But I wouldn't go with any less than 1 foot of paracord per inch of weave, because you do need some cord at the end to pull your last couple of knots tight, and your cord usage is going to depend on how tight you pull your knots and how much you squish them together and so on. So that's well and good for the cobra bracelet, but most of you don't want to stop there. You want to try new weaves that maybe we've done on this channel or that we haven't done on this channel. And for that, you need to learn how to estimate your own cord. The easiest way that I know of to do that is to make 1 inch of a bracelet and deconstruct it, see how much cord you use. So for the cobra, I can make a 1-inch long cobra weave, center strands only 1 inch long, weave only 1 inch long, and then deconstruct that and see how much cord I used. Then you can multiply that by the number of inches that your final product is going to be. So as you've been gathering throughout this video, this isn't going to guarantee perfect results every time. It's going to depend on the type of cord you're using, how tight you tie your knots, exactly what kind of project you're making. But if you take these tips into account, you should get pretty close just about every time. So while I can't guarantee perfect results, I hope that with this video you can make better paracord bracelets. And if this is your first time, be sure to check out that video in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.